Before starting, if you're looking for practical knowledge to improve your life, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our transformative content. Now, let's begin. Have you ever stopped to think about what the true meaning of life is? We're in a world where we're born, grow, work, love, and, in the end, die. But in the middle of all this, what are we really doing here? Why are we here? And most importantly, what are we here for? From the moment we arrive in this world, it seems everything is predetermined. We follow a sequence of events that many before us have followed. This is known as the common pattern of thought, behavior, and daily actions that in most cases mirror those of our parents or those that our society or culture has imposed upon us. Somehow, we are born, grow, learn, laugh, cry, make mistakes, and in the end, simply disappear. We simply vanish from the face of the earth, turning to dust. We leave behind a photo, a video, or, if we're lucky, a memory in someone's mind. But is that all? Is that the purpose of life? Just to be a fleeting memory, or, as many call it, a legacy? Millions have been here before, and millions will come after. For what purpose? Just to perpetuate the species? To keep the endless cycle of birth and death? We've been doing it for thousands of years, yet many of us still don't understand it. Technologically, we've evolved, but have we evolved as human beings? Just 100 years ago, a letter would take weeks to travel from one city to another. Today, we can talk to someone on the other side of the world instantly. But if that's progress, why do we continue to destroy it so easily? Why are there increasing conflicts at the family, local, national, and even international levels? Why do we see so much insecurity, crime, deaths, fights, strikes, and even international wars every day? So the question is, are we truly evolving for the better? Some believe life has no purpose in itself, that everything is a product of chance, a combination of circumstances that simply happen. And if we think about it, something that happens by chance cannot have a predetermined objective, right? In this sense, life would have no higher purpose. It just is, period. But what if what truly matters isn't the purpose itself, but the journey, the search for meaning? Some say that this search is what makes us human, and that search can take many forms, from perpetuating the species to seeking transcendence, wisdom, or even unity with something greater, like God. Others claim that life has no meaning because we live in a destructive and aggressive world. So what do we do with these opposing views? In my opinion, the meaning of life is something we have created ourselves. As rational beings, we need to give things meaning to justify our existence. But maybe what truly matters isn't finding that grand hidden meaning. Perhaps what really counts is how we live our lives, the decisions we make, and how we develop as people. Because each life is different for every person in the various stages of life. For example, when we were children, what brought us happiness was a hug from our mother, our father, our food, our milk, or some gifts. This, for us, or at least for most children, was the meaning of life. But as we grow, the concept of life and the reason we live changes, and that is logical because as our brains evolve, we see life differently. For the philosopher Aristotle, for instance, the meaning of life was personal fulfillment and well-being through virtue. His concept of eudaimonia, happiness or flourishing, was achieved when a person lived according to their rational nature and practiced virtues like justice, wisdom, and moderation. For Aristotle, life found its meaning when lived with purpose and excellence. On the other hand, philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre argued that life has no meaning in itself, as humans are condemned to be free, which means we must create our own meaning. He emphasized that we are responsible for our actions, and in choosing them, we create our own essence. The views of philosophers like Socrates and Sartre are important to apply to our lives because when a person lives according to their rational nature and practices virtues like justice, wisdom, and moderation, the outcome in most situations will reflect that. Just as we give, we receive. Every action has a reaction. For instance, if we are respectful, wise, and fair in our actions, it is likely that in most cases we will emerge victorious or maintain our dignity. This idea complements Sartre's perspective, which reminds us that we are responsible for our actions, and by choosing them, we shape our own essence. So rather than focusing on finding a definitive answer to why we're here, perhaps we should concentrate on something more practical: growing as human beings, continuously improving, and being generous with ourselves and others. Maybe the true purpose lies in discovering what we do well, maximizing it, and using it to contribute to the well-being of others. Because as the saying goes, those who don't live to serve, don't serve to live. Let me illustrate this with the story of Thomas Alva Edison. He is widely known for inventing the light bulb, an innovation that changed the course of history. But few remember that before achieving his great success, Edison had to fail over 5,000 times. 5,000 failed attempts to make the light bulb work properly. During this process, many people criticized him, underestimated him, and considered his efforts useless. At that time, no one valued what he was trying to do. However, Edison didn't let those failures or others' opinions define his purpose. He remained convinced that even if the result wasn't immediate, his work would have meaning eventually. Today, more than 100 years later, that invention still lights up our homes, streets, and cities. His perseverance and his ability to keep going despite adversity are what gave his life meaning. Not because he sought fame or recognition, but because he believed in the value of his contribution, even when others couldn't see it. In the end, what gives meaning to our lives isn't a grand philosophical answer, but how we live each day, the choices we make, the values we practice, and how we treat others. Perhaps the purpose of life isn't something found in the stars, but in the day-to-day. Growing as human beings, being generous, and contributing to the well-being of others might be the true path to a deep and lasting sense of purpose. As Edison once said, "I didn't fail. I just discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work." True failure is not trying, not growing, and not moving forward. So instead of seeking definitive answers, let's focus on living with purpose, creating our own meaning, and leaving a positive mark on the world. If you enjoyed this content and believe it can help others grow and improve, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share it.